So Phil is back. Will is not here tonight. He decided he was going to watch the Warriors, but I'm dedicated to the cause. So Survivor Specialist Phil.
And Will.
Oh, man.
Here it is. A surprise.
Same place, same time. Just got done watching the episode together.
Mm-hmm.
Just got through this whole the reunion that was probably garbage. But the finale, where are my Michelle Truthers at? Where are they at? Where are they at? Oh, my God, that was amazing. Did not think that Michelle was going to win it, especially after Neil's little catty remark. I didn't think he was going to be such a bitter baby. But, man, that was hilarious. Oh, my God, Michelle won the season. I'm so pumped.
That was, I think, one of the better finales almost ever, because I thought Aubrey was going to win, especially when Ty made the idiotic move of giving Aubrey a chance at fire and all that stuff. And I was like, wow, this finale is over. This is the first time Phil and I have ever watched the show together live. I was sitting on Phil's couch and I was like, darn, this is going to be a lame finale. Somehow Michelle pulls it out. I absolutely loved it. The reunion show did suck, but that's kind of expected at this point. The Sia thing kind of out of nowhere, so that was at least interesting. But not enough Liz, not enough Anna really in the reunion.
No, there wasn't enough of a lot of people in the reunion. But the Michelle thing, we were both sitting here, and when Ty made that move, we both were saying the same things that Michelle was saying, where it was like, Aubrey just won $1 million because Ty handed her $1 million. They thought it was a final three that was going to happen. And then Ty was smart enough to realize there's going to be another challenge. They get to the challenge, and when it turned out to actually be the jury reward, we both sat there and were like, well, Aubrey won. And Will threw a bit of a hissy fit.
Not a hissy fit.
And he really didn't want to watch it. He was mad. He was like, well, we know Aubrey's going to win. This doesn't mean anything. That's what happened. Where's PA Steve to tell us what
that's how I during the challenge where they got to vote out a jury member, I told Phil this. I was like, I don't think it matters who wins this or who they remove. I really think Aubrey has this locked up. And this really is a credit to the editor of the best edited seasons ever, if not the very best edited season. It might have something to do with that they had so much time to edit it. But I was just on my phone, which I'll sometimes do while watching TV, even maybe if the Warriors are on, which I got to give a shout out to the Warriors, won by 28 points tonight. All the Warriors haters can, be quiet for a little bit. But I was just on my phone, and Phil's just getting angry at me because we have obviously got to podcast. And it's like, all right, I don't need to see the ball go on top of the ball. And I know it's a Survivor finale, but I was kind of a little bummed.
He was dead.
Yeah, it wasn't a hissy fit. You were throwing a hissy fit at me for not having my eyes glued to these balls on the screen.
Your eyes were not glued to balls. Yeah, bad will. But no, I was in the same boat though, because I was frustrated because I was like, well, this is going to mean nothing. And then to top it off, you're sitting here next to Will, who knows it means nothing. He's much more negative than I am, and he's like, "Screw this." Don't tell me you weren't more negative, because you.
I was negative, and I was like, "This." I mean, my initial thought was like, "This is kind of a bummer for the finale," but it really went so far up and down. I was like, "Wait, Michelle is going to come back," and then, especially at before the fire happened, you thought maybe they just get rid of Aubrey here. That's a smart thing. I guess we can go through this. Tribal council by tribal council, I don't know. There's a lot to get into. We are going to take all the comments and things like that. But just to kind of lower our excitement level here, I know we're both really excited. We both really enjoyed this.
And I got to prove everybody wrong.
You did.
People, God, there were so many comments on the last YouTube video. Somebody actually said, and I forget who it was, you should be happy, I forget who you are, but somebody said it was painful to watch Phil sit there and try to convince Will that Michelle could beat Aubrey. There's no way. And guess what? She beat her 5-2. This is like when Jenna beat Matthew 6-5.
It was unnecessary that jury vote removal. I mean, I guess we can talk about whether Neil would have been that influential. I don't think Neil really was as influential as probably Phil does, because you want to give all the credit to Michelle for making that decision and all that. I don't think if Michelle doesn't get rid of Neil, I still think she wins, because Neil was a medevac right at the merge. He wasn't as powerful as he thinks he was, clearly by his remark to Michelle when he got voted out of the jury.
And I think you said it perfectly right there. He wasn't as powerful as he thought he was. He thought he was more powerful than he was. The thing was, Neil could have gotten up there and given a good speech for her and everything like that, but who was he going to pull? He wasn't going to pull enough for her to win. And that was the whole thing with this. And for me, the moment of the episode, or for me, the whole thing with the voting out of the jury member, because she voted out Neil, I was satisfied. I still thought she was going to lose at that. We were both sitting there. We're like, when she was saying, I might vote out Scott or Jason, we were like, please, God, no. Because if she does that, that is one of the dumbest things ever. Because they could still vote for you, which they did in the end. But Joe and Neil were never going to vote for Michelle. So she did it right. Still thought she was going to lose. I did not think she was going to win or had any chance to win until Julia's speech hit the midway point. She said, that's when I was proud of you. And that's when I was like, oh, my God, okay, so she still has Julia, because it seemed like everybody was really down on Michelle. And this is something that we haven't seen in a while, where the editors start
like
off
5, 6, 7 seasons where someone can turn it around, make final tribal council. Usually it is so obvious.
Because, like, when Joe got up there and said, Michelle, I kind of know your game already, so I'll talk to the other two. I'm like, wow, they all really hate Michelle.
She was getting ignored very early on. That's right.
And then Julia comes out and says that. I'm like, okay, she's got a shot here. Like, we'll see what happens. And when Scott Power got up there and started clapping for her, I was like, she's got Scott. She's got she's got Julia.
She's dating Nick now.
She's dating Nick now, so Nick better have voted for her. Otherwise,
Michelle would not go out with Nick if her million dollars. That would not make any sense.
And then probably Sydney. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, she's going to pull this off. And those last speeches, you could tell Aubrey was a little desperate because she realized that it got pulled out under her. And Michelle, the breakdown and the cry and going for it that way, and her last line of "I'm proud of myself." God, she just won this for
the tears, and she went last too. It was very fitting, and because it was going so just all the way to Aubrey at one moment when she wins fire, and then all the way to Michelle for a little bit, and then but Michelle, she's thinking about voting off Kyle or Scott. No, she's dumb. Like, there's no way she can win. And then it just kind of went back and forth, and it kept me, like you said, I was negative. I was like, wow, this finale is going to be bad. And then it got so good. And then right before we were reading the votes, for the first time, I guess since Kaoh Rong, which is not that many seasons ago, but it feels good to, like, when they're reading, or not reading the votes, but when Michelle hasn't yet won, you're like, are they going to pull one on us again? Is Aubrey going to win 6-1? Like, that was a very viable possibility. Like, she could have won 6-1. Be like, okay, Aubrey, we see why she played how she won.
And I said to Will, I said, if Aubrey gets this third vote, because it was 1-1, and they showed Michelle's first, then Aubrey, I was like, if the next vote is Aubrey, she's going to win this thing 6-1. Because they've done that so many times in the past where it's like they each show one vote for the people who get votes, and then somebody wins it in a landslide. And when was the last time we saw a close vote? There's not been, and I'm considering this a close vote because Scott and Jason, if the two of them swing over, Aubrey wins 4-3. This was an incredibly close vote because it came down to the two of them.
And you have to take into account Neil. He didn't get to vote.
Yes, and so it would have been 5-3 at least.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, we have not seen a vote like this since, what, season 21? Was it Fabia? The last time that it was a close vote?
Was the last close vote.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, wow, she's going to lose at 6-1. And then the next one was Michelle. I'm like, ooh, she could still win it. And then Michelle came out again. I'm like, she's going to get all of them.
You were thinking, though, Michelle,
going into the reunion.
We were both saying, look, we really think, wow, Michelle just pulled it out. And I don't know how much we're going to break down point by point, but the main takeaway, at least for me, is strategy is so heavily focused on in these recent seasons, but that's only one component of the game, and you could make a very good case, and it's probably true. Aubrey had a better strategic game. Would you agree with that?
Aubrey had a better strategic game.
She voted the right way every tribal council post-merge. She was always in control. Like, she even said it. She put it very well. She had a great final tribal council performance, maybe up until that last speech, but she didn't really have a social game, apparently, and it is a social game primarily above a strategic game, and that's how it was in the earlier seasons. We kind of gone away from that. So for Michelle to win, that just lets you know that no matter how many idols, how many advantages, how many twists you throw in, it still really comes down to the relationships you build and things like that. Yeah, so I'm very happy Michelle won. I'm so glad that, I mean, even though I had Aubrey as the winner from very far out, I'm so glad I was proved completely wrong. And that you are right, your winner pick. Congratulations to you, Phil.
Yes, and one thing I want to say about this, so many people are saying right now, Michelle's the worst winner ever, or she's like bottom 2 or 3 winners. Michelle is easily at least middle tier. And by middle tier, I mean like she is at least top 16 of the show. And I'm not kidding when I say this.
I don't know about that, because there's a lot of great winners, and we've read
But listen to me on this. I think that this benefits from going back and rewatching, and when you can actually see how Michelle navigated the game, I feel like it's going to help, because it was such a crazy season with bigger personalities. I know when Michelle talks, she doesn't sound very smart.
She does not.
She does not sound smart. I said today, she sounds like she bit the side of her tongue every time she talks, and like she can't use her tongue completely. So like, what I get where like the Michelle hate comes from, but to call her like the worst winner, she played such a good social game, and I almost feel like what's happening here. And I'm not saying she's as good of a player as Colby, but I feel like we're getting the Colby Tina thing, where everybody was like, well, Aubrey played so much better because she did stuff that was visible. Mm-hmm. And Tina won that game back in season 2 because of her social game, and that's how Michelle won this game tonight. And she played a fantastic, fantastic social game. Seriously, one of the better social games of any survivor.
She did. I was asking Phil this, like, what did Aubrey do to lose this game though? Because was it that she let Michelle get in, or did she ever have a chance to win? Maybe we were just being misled this whole time. Like, yeah, we know what move she's doing, but if everyone disliked her the whole time, and maybe it's a little bit like Spencer last season, that he gets to the end and gets no votes at all, even though it seemed like he was well liked by the fans, a narrator, a strategic presence, and he doesn't get any votes. So this might lead to a shift in the way people play the game. Like, look, you need to not only worry about all the strategy, but you really need to build relationships. I think we almost say this every season. Like, that's really what it comes down to, even though we love talking about numbers and things of that nature.
Exactly. And I think like somebody like Russell, we always bring him up. He's a strategist. He's crazy. He's a really great strategist, but he doesn't know how to talk to people. And I'm not saying Aubrey is anything like that. I just think Aubrey was an underdog. Ty was an underdog. It's so much easier to play up an underdog on a season than it is to play up somebody.
But Michelle's an underdog too because she's a beauty. And she's not inherently smart or strong.
Yes.
As she mentioned twice in a row.
But how perfectly did she say it?
She did. She mentioned very well.
Her final tribal council performance tonight was phenomenal. Like, it really, when she was given the opportunity to speak, Nick said it at the beginning, when you're given an opportunity, when you're asked a question, you better take advantage of it. She took advantage of it. Mm-hmm. She took advantage of it, and she owned it at that whole final tribal, and she beat somebody who probably played a better game than her. But socially, she made people feel for her.
Better strategic game. I just want to correct.
Did I say social?
No, you just said better game in general.
Yeah, no, better strategic. Better strategic. Michelle played the better social game.
Better overall game because you got the votes. And you can't argue with the jury.
Here's the thing. When Scott Pollard went, Michelle didn't vote for her, and Aubrey brought up a great point tonight. Did you know that this was happening? And Scott and Jason could have looked at that and said, well, Michelle doesn't deserve to win. But they respected Aubrey, but they liked Michelle more. And that's what the vote came down to.
Yeah, I didn't like that argument that much from Aubrey anyway. Like, did you know we were pulling this blind? It's like, no, Michelle was not. She was on the bottom. That's what made her, win. And
fed it to her head.
And you were saying this in a couple podcasts ago. Like, Michelle they keep telling her she's on the bottom of this alliance, and she keeps, staying in, and
there's a lot to be said about that. Sandra, I don't know about that. And then, I brought it up today where, Chris Darby, I don't know how to say his last name, but in Vanuatu, when you rewatch that season, it's so much better because you get to watch his arc knowing he's going to win. And the first time you're watching, you're like, how the hell can this guy win by the end of it? And you watch his arc and it means so much more because he's always the underdog, but he always found a way. And that's the key in this game. And it wasn't that Michelle only found the way with immunities. Yes, she won immunity tonight.
She did need the last.
She needed it tonight. She needed it tonight. I get that. But she still found a way to maneuver throughout the hardest part of the game when things were really going crazy and idols were going all over the place and advantages were being played. She found a way to navigate all that with her social.
She did. And she did a very good job. Do we want to go vote by vote here, or just every
how much do you want to talk about this Sydney thing?
I kind of want to talk about what Ty was thinking giving Aubrey that chance, because I still don't know. You made a great point when we were watching live that it's like you flipped all the way throughout the merge, and then the one time where flipping and betraying would have made the most sense in the world to take out Aubrey, you end up not doing that and then letting who I thought was a sure win at that point get to the end. But what was Ty really thinking there? What was going on?
He's doing it with his heart. He's sitting there and he's like, oh, I've been aligned with Aubrey. And he really felt that he was aligned with Aubrey the entire time after the whole Scott Jason mess. And I get that. Like, yeah, you might want to see loyalty there and everything. But, like, when Michelle said to him after that tribal, you just gave Aubrey $1 million, he seemed shocked by that. And I just think it showed how unaware he is.
He is extremely unaware, and he was playing with his emotions. But he was the one that said, look, Jeff never said final three. He never said get to plead your case to the jury. I was surprised that was coming out of Ty's mouth and not Aubrey's mouth.
Aubrey and Michelle both did not expect to have another challenge.
Yeah. So if Ty's thinking, look, I'll give Aubrey here, I'll have Aubrey, if she wins immunity, she'll definitely take me. If I win, I can take Michelle. I mean, maybe he was thinking that. Again, not completely sure. It'll be fun to hear what all these players say too. And it's a fun season.
Once again, back to how well edited it was. Going into that tribal, you brought up something where you said it almost feels like the Alicia vote where it's like, let's just get it over with. Because it seemed like here goes Aubrey, she gets fourth place, and it makes sense that we get a winner like Michelle who beats average competitors. Now, I'm not saying Sydney and Ty both play good games, but you get Michelle to beat them as opposed to beating Sydney, and Sydney gets almost the Kathy vibe or something like that. And when Aubrey goes to the fire challenge, you're like, well, Sydney's not beating her in the fire challenge. And then she sits at the end, and it's like, wow, she made it to the end and still lost. What was going on here? Like, it's crazy. It was really crazy.
And just on that editing, it was just so locked down. Ty said multiple times, this is where I betray my alliance. This is for myself. All of these things to make you think that it's going to be a 3-1 Aubrey vote. Yeah. Like, everything the editors could do to make you think that, and it's like, all right. And then little inklings of fire, but it was mainly because it was so obvious. There was no, it was only Aubrey could go. There's no alternative. And when that happens, something is going to change. And even at Tribal Council, I really thought Aubrey was going to make some weird move, maybe stand up on a stool like Jenny, or really beg to Ty, like, give me a chance to make fire, something like that. We got none of that at all going into the votes. And it's like, wait a second, what is going on? And that's, again, the editors had me just going up and down the entire episode.
And it's almost telling now when you look back at it, how at that point Aubrey wasn't desperate because she knew she was safe. And then when you go back and rewatch her final speech at the final tribal, she was desperate. She knew she had lost it, because when Scott Pollard got there and clapped for her, Aubrey did not think that Scott was voting Michelle going to that tribal. I can almost guarantee she did not expect that. And she has to sit there knowing that means Jason's over there too. And I don't have Julia. She only needs one more.
I did think that Aubrey had very good answers, though.
Yeah, I thought both couples were great tonight.
Like, Scott's question was, why should I vote for you? And she's like, you're a competitor. I played a better game, pretty much. That's what she said. And I thought, move by move, strategically, all the votes and all that stuff, like I'm talking about, yes, you did do a better job. But if Scott just, hey, I like Michelle more, I want to give her $1 million, that's the name of the game.
And I thought that was crazy when he got up and she said that. I was like, that's a fantastic speech. Scott's not even going to ask Michelle a question. Aubrey's got that vote. And then he just starts clapping for Michelle, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, that, it's over. It's over at that point. There's no way Aubrey can get the votes. One thing I do want to say, I think that the voting out a jury member actually worked out okay this time.
It did work.
It worked out I think it added a little bit of drama to the episode. I did like it. I don't know if I want to see it often, but I don't mind if they throw it in now as like a recurring.
I don't know.
It can happen every now and then. I don't want it to happen too much.
This is one of those things, you do it, I think they got away with one here. Like, they added this element. I don't think that many people were fond of it going in. I don't think it changed the winner. I don't think there's an asterisk by anybody. Like, oh, Michelle.
She would have won 5-3 instead.
I don't think anyone's saying that, but there certainly is that possibility happening when you include that type of advantage. So I don't want to see it again. Super Idol, I am down to see again for sure. Because two people coming together and putting an idol, it's still so unlikely to happen, I think, because people want that idol for themselves. So I'm down to see that. Kaoh Rong brought a lot to the table. Where do you have this? I mean, immediate take after finishing the episode. Where's this in your rankings?
It's definitely top 10.
I think it is definitely top 10. It might be top 5 because this finale, it might be my favorite Survivor finale. And this is very fresh. But just all the, I've never hated a finale mid-finale and then finished it and been like, wow, that blew me away.
It felt like every other Survivor finale, and that was the problem. It felt like every other Survivor finale where you come in, you know who the winner's going to be, and then the winner wins. And there's no drama to it because they've made it so obvious the last couple seasons. Since Boston Rob, you went Rob, Sophie was a little shocking, but at the same point, everybody knew Coach wasn't going to win.
I was not feeling a Coach win. When Sophie won, it was like, I expect Sophie to win this vote.
Was it? Then Kim, Denise, Cochran, Tyson, who was Tony, Natalie, Mike.
There you go.
Like, and then 31 was.
giving you a pat on the back now.
I'm just saying, you go through all these, and then Jeremy wins 31. You go through all of these, and going into the finale, you said this is the person who's going to win, and that's who won. And going
I don't know
into
about Cagnon. That was a little more up there. Going into the final vote, that was
that was obvious. Yeah, but I think some people thought Spencer could pull it out, or maybe somehow crazily Wu pulls it out.
Right.
But still, the person going to win, I think. Most people thought Tony was still going to win. He was the favorite. Michelle was this episode. This is the first time that the favorite actually lost
in a long time.
First time in a long time. Since Fabio. And I'll say this too: the way they played up Michelle was like, oh, if she doesn't win, we're going to vote her out. If she doesn't win, we're going to we need to vote her out. They were serious. She was a much bigger threat than we were led to believe the entire season. They were serious. They wanted to get her out.
And you've already mentioned this. It has talks and that the way she presents herself. She says a lot of insightful things, but she's not the best with words, even though she has good ideas. I think she can't always really get exactly what she's thinking across. You even saw it when Jeff interviewed her in the reunion.
She was.
I mean, she obviously she just won. She's nervous. She's excited, but I mean, Aubrey compared to Aubrey, who's just like firing. She's got everything together in her head. It's very, very different. And that's why we watched those preseason videos. I was like, I like Michelle. The only thing I was down on her was she seems a bit ditzy. She seems a little dumb. And Nick said she needed intelligence, and she did have it.
She did. She proved it. And I think it came down to Aubrey always knew what she was going to say. Michelle had to think about it, and I think Michelle might have come across as more sincere to people. And that's why they ended up voting for her in the end. They trusted her a little bit more, and they felt that she was a more real person than Aubrey, who clearly had grown throughout the show. When she's getting her metamorphosis comment before going into Final Tribal, I was like, oh my God, they are just freaking putting it on here. They're playing the epic music. I mean, it was crazy how much it was like, wow, Aubrey's got this in the back.
Yeah, when the person going last into Final Tribal Council almost, I don't know, always wins, but of late, like that music, that intensity, man, editors are just becoming aware of how they edited the show previously and playing into that, and that is just awesome. Again, it might have to do with that they had extra time to put the season together. Obviously, there's a lot of things we didn't talk about. Didn't really give Sydney much time. Ty's whole poem,
that was
fun.
Fun, weird.
Weird.
He kind of rambled. He knew he was nervous at that point too, because he knew that his was over.
We have Mark. We have a lot of stuff.
Bye Mark was sad.
I think Bye Mark, great hashtag. Lots of good hashtags tonight. But let's just, I think, get into these comments, and more things will come up. Because
I'm sure the reunion will come up.
It is getting late.
What it was.
So let's
all right. So anyway, let's start with Tom Azenberg said, "Where would you rank the winner? I know you don't know yet, but when it's announced, where would you rank them?" And okay, I said Michelle would be top half. I'm going to adjust this now. Let me adjust this now, because I know everybody's going to be like, Phil, you're an idiot, Phil, you're an idiot, Phil, you're an idiot. Let me just adjust this real quick. I'm going to say top 20. I'm not going to say top half, but I'm going to say top 20. She falls somewhere in that range. I would have to look at every game up next to each other. But I'm going to say, in a knee-jerk reaction, Michelle played a top 20 game. It was just a very underrated game where people felt somebody else played better. This is going to be, when we watch it again, probably a lot like Sophie's, but I've never rewatched it.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, I think when you rewatch season, you'll sit there and say, oh, that's what Michelle did. Oh, that's what Michelle did. Oh, that's how Michelle navigated this. And I said to you when Kayla got medevac, the three girls were sitting there crying. I said, dude, they gave you your heroes right there. They want you to root for one of them to win. And from that point on, they wanted you to root for Michelle because they knew Michelle was going to win. She's just not that type of personality that's going to be behind her. And that's really where it fell short. But that was the scene, I feel like, that really set her story into motion to win the game.
Right. And I mean, you're putting it very well. I mean, you have a bartender from Jersey who's an attractive, it's like, what is really that unique about Michelle? And not to tell, I mean, the most unique thing now is that she's a Survivor winner.
Yeah.
That's now it for her. Yeah. But the show, it's like you have Ty, you have Debbie, even Aubrey, who is, not the most unique person, but she's, very quirky and has a lot of personality.
You almost look at Michelle and say, how did she get on the show? Especially in a cast that was as crazy as this. She had an 18-year-old, a 71-year-old, Jason Scott, Ty, Aubrey, I'll even give it to her, a bodybuilder in Sydney, who's like
We have like Alicia and like we have good characters like Darnell.
Crazy,
like a fun, goofy guy.
Crazy cast. And you sit there and you really do wonder, how did Michelle get on the scene?
And she wins. I think I know why. Because she's a beauty.
Exactly.
And that's what she had over.
It worked.
I don't know about top 20. I mean, really would have
we
to.
We have to really look at it. If people have asked, can we do an updated winners ranking? Can we do an updated season rankings? We probably will, and I'll sit down and I'll rank out the winners. And Michelle might fall to 24 or 25 for me. I don't know, but I'm saying right now I feel like she's a top 20 winner.
And this is the big disclaimer. If anyone hasn't watched our winner thing, we say it about 100 times in our winners ranking. It's like you're ranking 32 people who have won the show. They all did something victory. So it's like you're really
except Amber.
Except Amber.
Which we both agree is the 32nd or whatever. However many seasons of Survivor are, Amber will be that
32nd
and the best winner.
You have Sandra 1 and 2. You combine her. There's
a lot going on. So let's see here. Sarah Harkins, thanks for helping me win my pool. You are welcome. I will take all the credit.
You or
definitely me.
The team was pretty brutal.
This is, I mean, I'm just going to go through these because this is fantastic here. Ash, good choice on your winner pick, Phil. I'm still shocked that Aubrey didn't win, though. I was rooting for her. I think most people were. Larry Miller ties officially the poor man's Yao Man. This guy always says this. Both had
it's not true.
Yao Man had great strategy.
Yao Man was this tie strategy.
Yeah. Jimmy O'Connor, spoilers. Wow, love the editing this season. When looking back at the winner, congrats, Phil, and runner-up. Amazing season. And I think that this almost had like a China feel to it, too. Biggest editing, but everybody thought of going into that. Like, Amanda could win this. Not that she was going to win. She could win this. And this was the first time where you had two people sitting in the final tribal that really could win.
And even
in a long time.
And even three, like, going to China, you didn't think Courtney could win, but, like, she was there who people kind of love. People, not everyone got along with her, but a lot of people liked it. So Ty maybe fits in with Courtney a little bit there.
Even though Ty got no votes, just like Amanda. Well, yeah, we know. All right, Gamer Girl, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you feel that Michelle won, and what was your reaction? I was about a 10 because of what it meant for the season. I will not explain what my reaction. A lot of happiness, a lot of screw those people, but and Curtis, did they do that jury twist to avoid a tie at Final Tribal Council? Now let's ask this now. Why do you think they chose to do the jury twist
instead of
just going and having a final two with a 9-person jury?
If you have a final two, it's But wouldn't it be 8-3 then? So there would be a tie anyway.
What I'm saying is,
but I'm answering the commenter's question. If you have 8 against 3, they're really you're not. I guess it could be 3-3-2, but then I mean.
Yeah, then the other two would just. I mean, it's happened before with an 8-person jury.
3, there's not really hasn't been a tie.
I mean, there could have been a tie tonight. It could have been 3-3-1 if tie gets voted, and that's more likely than 3-3-2. I think. What I'm wondering is, why do you think they chose to get rid of a jury member and have a 7-person jury on a 3-person final instead of a 2-person final with a 9-person jury? Why?
I just think. I mean, I said this in the predictions podcast. It's season 32. They need to throw new stuff at the wall. They need to just try things out, see how they work. This season was already had just a lot of craziness with the medevacs. So, like, I mean, Jeff said we've been waiting to do this for 7 years. And he was like, all right, this season everything's crazy. Let's just toss this in because if it doesn't work out, we can blame it on medevacs. You know?
Exactly. And the thing is too. They were probably worried. They probably thought like Ty's going to be the fan favorite and everything, but they get a vibe out there like Ty's not going to win the game, and they're worried that one of the girls is going to go up against Ty in the final two, and it's going to be a blowout. And the best final two, like we said on our predictions podcast, was Aubrey versus Michelle. It was. It was going to be the best final two because if Sydney goes against Michelle, if Michelle could beat Aubrey, Michelle would have beaten Sydney too. I like it just would have happened. Yeah. Michelle was the front runner going into this. We just didn't know.
I mean,
Sydney had a case, but there's no way Jason and Scott were voting Sydney.
That's true.
Because if they weren't going to vote Aubrey, they weren't going to vote Sydney. They were obviously playing it based on who they liked.
But Joe and Debbie, they probably all go Sydney. True. But the question I guess here is too, when did they decide to do this? How late? Because if they're deciding this once they know the Final Four, that's late. It's a little messed up. They're like, okay, well, we kind of want this person to win or like have a more exciting finish, so we want to, get rid of each other. I think that's a little. Hopefully, it's like they did this plan away early.
I wouldn't be surprised if they planned it when Neil got medevac. I mean, I would like to think that they planned everything before the season started, but I bet I bet it was planned before the season started, but it was a backup plan. And when they lose 2 people to injury, they probably said, okay, let's try it this time because now we're losing people quick. Like, we need to try to mix it up somehow. So I'm not sure if they would have done it from the very beginning, but it's clearly something they wanted to do.
I think the Metamax having 3 definitely contributes because you go to Tribal Council, it's still an event, still a lot to talk about. I did think, though, and this is at the point where I thought getting rid of the jury member didn't really matter, which was wrong.
So wrong.
Wrong of me. I don't know if it was wrong of me to think that. I think the editors almost let us down that path a little bit.
Yeah, they did.
And maybe if you're not, I was saying this to Phil, if I'd watched this 5 years ago, I would have been stoked about the jury removal. I would have been like, oh, what's going to happen? Really into it. But I've been honestly probably listening to myself talk about Aubrey too much to even see anything else. So it's probably my fault.
It is a big fault. We got 5 comments here from Harold Rice, all comparing people. So I'm going to pick up the 2 that I like the most, so we don't have to do them all. Sydney compared to Sydney from Tokensheens. I mean, Sydney from Tokensheens, anytime I can talk about her, she's the hottest survivor to ever play the game. So
I don't know. Michelle, now that she's a winner. I mean,
Michelle's really hot now, but Sydney's like a different level of like really hot. So Sydney compared to that Sydney, this Sydney's just not as hot. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, I'm going to do 3 of them because he's saying.
Well, Sydney was pre-merge, and
who wants to hate that person, right?
Yeah. And Sydney got,
And then they also bring in Sydney from Guatemala. And Sydney from Guatemala, if anybody remembers who that is, she won a car.
Yeah.
And then I do want to bring this one up. It's Ty. How does he compare to Rupert in terms of popularity? And Jeff brought this up and said Ty's like one of the most popular ever. Where do you think he actually stands in terms of popularity?
He can't be the most popular ever because there are just fewer people who watch the show.
Well, I get that, but I'm saying okay, when Rupert was watching the show, if 20 million people were watching it then,
so you're just saying
19 million people loved him. Yeah.
Right, okay.
So 1920, so the population loved Rupert. What do you think it is for the top, where there's 10 million people watching?
I think he's a little bit lower. Just a little bit, though. I think maybe early on people were really, really loving him. Mm-hmm. But as it went on, you start to this guy is kind of a nut. Like, I don't think he even knows. Like, he loves, very first episode, he goes, I love plants. I think people find that kind of funny and laughable. But then he just kind of spews this, I don't know. Not that I don't like Ty, but I was, I think, a big fan early. And same with the jury. It seemed like they agreed, too. They were really impressed with Ty, thought he was a threat, and then he ended up being kind of a goat.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the fan. It was just like, just up and up and up.
Yeah. Rupert was everything. I mean, Rupert could have played 10 seasons in a row there, and fans would have still.
He still might have a chance to play 10 seasons.
He really could. Harold, right, this is the last one. How does Aubrey compare to Sophie Cochran? She's second place. They both won. That's how she really compares to him. But I think she played a very similar game, at least to Sophie. Cochran, his second time maybe, but his first time, Cochran's first game was atrocious.
Yeah. I see. I mean, we kind of ripped on her when she said, I'm like Sophie, I'm like Cochran, a little bit, just because they're both nerdy winners. It's such an obvious thing to say, but I
think she was pretty
in what she said.
Giovanni Oriana for winning. You proved this wrong.
There it is.
And then Giovanni Oriana. Michelle is the only winner to get 2 votes at the same tribal council from the same person.
Hey, we don't have this on.
Oh, God, it wasn't. I didn't even turn it on. There's Phil and
Oh, man.
Wow, that's going to look bad the entire time. Well, I think she's the only person who could get 2 votes from the same person at the same tribal. I don't think that could have happened for anybody else.
Sorry,
don't worry about it. And Curtis, when I heard Probst say a special guest at the final tribal council, I thought they would get someone from pre-jury to replace Neil. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that somewhere down the line, but they couldn't do it here.
Very, very far down the line. Yeah. I knew it was going to be Mark the Chicken. You just knew that. Yeah. And Mark the Chicken, you really can't talk about him enough. We don't need to talk about him. I don't really like all the fanfare that surrounds him outside the show, but in the show, it really is awesome. Yeah. And not just because it's a hashtag a social media thing and it's a chicken. It's people out there who are starving and they have a chicken, which they eat almost, I don't know, probably 3 times a week in their everyday lives, and you're starving and you're not eating this chicken because your friend's cool.
That's awesome.
I'm a huge Mark the Chicken guy.
Giovanni Oriana, Neil's the first person to have 2 final word sections in a season. That is really funny because Neil's second was
Wait, but what about Burden? What about Burden?
Wait, and also
Bloodless. No, you don't get final words
I
plus
guess
Friday. You
Butler's
go
Friday,
to
no.
the island
Yeah.
or Redemption Island.
Maybe Burton, though. Burton might have.
Burton definitely had to have, right?
We got to look back at that. Yeah, we got to look back at that one. But yeah, this is funny because like his second one, that was sad. But he was unnecessarily rude to Michelle on his way out. He really was.
Don't take it too hard. She won.
He was heartbroken, and I get that. And like everything that Neil wanted going into the game was literally ripped from his hands. But like, I don't know.
So where do you look at the jury removal as like a taking away someone's right? Like you got that far in the game, which Neil didn't get that far. So
I don't feel bad for Neil because he got 11th place.
Right. It's the best thing it can happen. But what if it happens to Scott Pollard? What if it happens to Joe? Like, are you kind of like, gosh darn it, they really are. Like Joe, he didn't. If it happened to Kyle, I would have been pissed. Not pissed. Just like, man, he deserved that. He deserved that.
Scott, see, here's my thing. If it happens to Scott Pollard, it happened because he pissed people off. And at that point, it's like, dude, it comes back to bite you in the ass, just like it comes back to bite these people.
But it's never been part of the game. It's almost like it's like the Outcast twist, where maybe if you had told us, like, it could be cool. You tell us you're going to put these people together on a tribe, and they'll come back in, and that's kind of what ended up happening with Redemption Island, and you can make that work. But when it's like surprise, like you don't get to do this.
I'll tell you something. Michelle picked the one person that hurt the most. She definitely picked the one person that hurt the most. Anybody else, I think, would have been like, oh, okay, thank you, Michelle.
What about Kyle? I think
Kyle would have been mad, but I don't think
Neil.
How much does Neil love this game? He's talking about how he can't wait to play it again. He's going to be asked back, all this stuff. He gets medevac with an idol in his pocket. All he has left is that he still gets to vote on the jury, and she takes it away from him. I mean, she destroyed it. She destroyed it.
Really is. And I mean, I didn't hate Neil, but like I wasn't the biggest fan. I really enjoyed that. That was funny.
So Giovanni Moreno, who was the MVP of the reunion show, and I guess we could talk like baby amounts about the reunion show. I say Joe. He had the best answer.
He did. It was quick. I mean, you can just tell every time someone opens their mouth on the reunion show, Jeff wants them to close it just as soon as possible.
Except for Caleb and Ty. Was the only thing he loved, just letting them ramble for
he loves them.
Hours.
I think Joe the Doctor. I mean, as much as we,
I was saying Joe.
No, I'm saying Joe the Doctor.
Oh, okay.
Because I was going to say, as much as we kind of hate when they don't spend time with the castaways, they go in the audience with all these side segments. I know Sia kind of surprised everybody, but Joe the Doctor, he had great answers. You know, pretty concise answers. It didn't take too much screen time. Interesting, well-spoken guy. And I think
he's a doctor.
As far as audience members go, he has been, one of the best in Survivor history.
He really might be. Yeah, I mean, Sia was cool. She came out, she gave him the thing, but that was annoying.
It was weird.
It was weird. But I'm happy, good for her for giving the thing.
Yeah, the money's cool, the donation's nice. It was a weird. She's with her hair.
Survivor spy thing going on. Giovanni Oriana, Sydney became the first person to be the last person voted out, but not on day 38. It's a little fun Survivor fact there. That's good for Survivor trivia.
We have a lot of firsts just from this, one jury removal.
Yeah.
Michelle was the first person to cast a vote, being the only person to cast a vote and not have anyone go home.
Yeah, there you go.
You could probably just go on and on with this one.
Giovanni Oriana, Michelle, Natalie Anderson, and Tony, winners from New Jersey, and all pretty recent. Isn't that insane?
And all pretty.
It's all very pretty. It's in the water. It's in the water.
Well, maybe if you get on, you'll.
I'll win automatically just because I'm from New Jersey. People see that, they give me a check. Giovanni again. Michelle attended her first tribal council on day 22, the latest out of any winner, and attended the least amount of tribal councils with 7. Look at this with the Michelle knowledge here.
Well, that's kind of, I don't know. That might knock her down below top 20 for my winner ranking, knowing that she didn't go to that many tribal councils.
She didn't have to. I mean, she didn't have to. Neither did Tom Westman. He's a fantastic winner.
It's all luck.
Tom Westman was vulnerable at 2 tribal councils his entire time.
Yeah, but if this is true, then she went to fewer than Tom. Not that she was, eligible.
Well, Tom went to all the winners. There were 2 post-merge medevacs in this season. I mean, it's a crazy season. You know what? The random seasons are hard to no credit. That's a hard freaking season to win, and so is this one.
I'm just letting you know.
I'm just letting everybody else know. Hank's weather page. Aubrey should have won hands down. Congrats filling your winner pick, but I thought she was less deserving. And also that finale sucked. This season is still good, though. Season 33 looks like it could be interesting, though. I thought this season was great.
I don't know. Watching any Survivor finale, or just any episode, it's so just watching it. Just going back and forth during this finale. Just completely enjoyed it. So someone hated it. It's kind of surprising, but
yeah, well, I think season 33 looks that interesting. Like he just said, I thought that the Gen X versus Millennials thing was dumb.
That is such a terrible title.
Why don't you just call it old versus young?
Or just come up with any just battle
20-year-olds,
battle of the ages, or just
such a bad name. Oh my god! I'm not saying it.
The themes don't always. Who cares about the theme? I mean, it's bad. It doesn't mean it's gonna be a bad season.
No, but he said I don't think that's like an interesting theme. I mean, it's the same. Nicaragua was old versus young.
Yeah, Panama did that too.
Yeah. Aaron Weiner. Wow, Aubrey got robbed, but congrats, Phil, for getting it right. I mean, I'm almost on board that Aubrey might have gotten a little robbed, but I still think Michelle played a very good game.
Really get robbed. And I kind of last season with Spencer, I was like, if I were voting, I would have voted for Spencer. But that doesn't mean I think that he got robbed.
Yeah.
It's that I think he should at least gotten more than 0 votes last season.
Michelle played the big guys right. Aubrey did.
She did.
That's what it came down to. She got Nick, she got Jason, and she got Scott. She played those guys right.
And know what Jeff was saying about the brain cells, because if you're Jeff winning all these tribal councils and just hearing Aubrey speak, and you're looking at, whoa, she's voting with everybody and voting the right way every tribal council, it's like, how does Michelle win? He's probably sitting like, how are the editors going to pull this thing off?
They did.
This season hurts my brain. Like, what is going on? We lost, 3 people in medevacs. Michelle, I mean, credit to the editors, credit to Michelle.
Yeah. Emily, rank the 3 tribe season winners on best gameplay and first boots on who you want to see back. So I guess if you want to do the 3 tribe season winners, we'll do a first boot day.
So Amber is last. Okay.
Denise is probably top.
Mm-hmm. I think she's the best winner ever. So
she's top.
Mike, I think Mike is a worse winner than Michelle.
I think so too.
And then if you want to throw Jeremy in, because they did have 3 tribes, it didn't start that way. But if you want to, Jeremy is a better winner.
Oh, and Tony's the second.
Oh, right. And
Tony's then Tony.
There's a lot of 3 tribe seasons. We're really back.
We're starting to get there. The next season's 20. So
2.
Yeah. Henry Alford. If Neil played his idol at the jury removal, do you think he would have stayed on the jury? Would have been an awesome moment.
Wow.
That would have been hilarious if he would have done that.
I'm going to like that.
If he would have done that, that would have been so funny for him to just do that. Also, Henry Alford pointed this out, and we got to give a big shout out here. Adam Klein, who is going to win our boot listing. We didn't score it, so I don't know who got second yet, but we will tell you. Adam Klein is going to be on the next season of Survivor, and he is a big subscriber to us, fan of us. That's huge. Congratulations to Adam Klein. We have to give you a damn
Well, I think he might have won last time, and we haven't even gotten those buffs.
He doesn't bother us enough. He seems like a nice guy. Maybe he'll win.
No, he might have, because the whole YouTube messaging system is really, you don't get notified.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not. We might have to send him 2 buffs. He already has probably a bunch of buffs.
Yeah, now he has a real buff. I want his buff, and we'll give you your buff.
Yeah, maybe we'll ask him, do you still want these? You can probably get these for free, man.
Why don't you just send us yours?
Or donate them to other listeners, maybe.
There you go. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Adam. Henry Alford, Will needs to stop jumping the gun and declaring with certainty stuff like Aubrey win, final 2, and the Warriors win.
That's part of, do you want me to come up here and talk and just be like, well, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see what happens. No, it's fun, making predictions and declaring things to be true before they're true, because then you can either be right and it's fun or be wrong and get made fun of and stuff. That's fun. The Warriors, we crushed.
Yeah, I got you. It was yesterday at this point. It's 12:30.
It was yesterday.
Yeah.
Not in Hawaii, though.
No, not yet. Smarty Pants 405. It's going to be a long off season. How about a podcast ranking best final 3? This would be top 5. We could do, we're going to do some stuff in the off season. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we got a lot. We got a lot of stuff planned. A lot.
Tom Azenberg, no effing way. Good shit, Phil. Thanks, man. Let's see here. Morgan, congratulations, Phil. Haha, Aubrey was robbed. AF, though. Bitter ass jury. I don't think they're bitter.
I think Scott was a little bit bitter.
Scott was going to be bitter no matter what it was, but I don't know, man. Every jury is a little bit bitter. And this one, I just think they voted for somebody that they liked the most, but also felt played a good game.
This is an interesting one right here.
Yeah, Joe Uke. Honestly, what the hell? How did Aubrey not win? I blame that awful twist and Neil's temper
He
tantrum.
blames Neil like lashing out at Michelle for Michelle getting more votes because maybe people didn't like Neil and they're like, well, Neil doesn't want Michelle to win, so we have to make Michelle win now. Like, what if that is why Michelle?
It's almost like the Sue Hawk thing where that got Kelly votes in that season, even though Richard still won.
Yeah,
that like made people change their mind.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of when Cass said, I mean, when Spencer did his cheerleader speech for Tony and Cagayan, like, you have to vote for Tony, you have to vote for Tony, you played a better game, don't vote for Woo. Cass was like, I almost voted Woo just to spite Spencer. Like, that almost happened. Maybe they all got together and were just like, screw Neil.
Yeah, maybe they were. I mean, it seems, if you watch the Ponderosa, it seems like Neil freaks some people out. He's just like kind of like an out there dude.
Well, now, dude, you started with Michelle in the top 20, and now that we're getting stats from Twitter.
Oh, my God, dude. I still, you know what? I'm going to put Michelle at number 1 in my winners rankings. You guys are all going to have to celebrate.
She's going to have to go. She's like, this is right above Amber for me right now. Yeah, after hearing
here's Eddie, who probably feels the same way. Phil, I know you like Michelle because she is from New Jersey, but she is a terrible winner and is very, very bland. Michelle is a very beautiful human and a cool
being
winner.
Very bland does not have to do with how well you play Survivor. It just doesn't. Well, I come across on TV, it doesn't work like that. Yeah. Or else we'd have Ty winning every season, Debbie winning every season, and that they aren't good players. Michelle's a better player.
Morgan, that was one of the worst reunion shows ever, along with Ending. Yeah, that was
along with Ending. So she doesn't like. I mean, most people do not like that Aubrey didn't win because she was the strategic player. Because she was the strategic player. She's the narrator. She was in control, had the power.
This is like when all the people who didn't know what the Red Wedding was, and then the Red Wedding happened. Like, I was happy after that. So many people were so mad because there goes like your hero, and I'm like, yeah.
I had it spoiled for me. Like,
I was
years ago. Yeah.
Trust me, I had it spoiled, but I wanted to do it for the emotion,
Right.
We were in the same class. We had that spoiled together, the Red Wedding.
Yeah, we did.
That Nadia chick.
Yeah.
Oh God, what a bad person.
She honestly killed Game of Thrones for me.
And then she didn't show up again to class. Not even kidding. That's not a joke. True story. Don't go to film school. Tom Azenberg, it's lit. Podcast and Michelle win. Woo. So happy Tom Azenberg is on my side.
Oh, woo.
Woo. Yeah. Not like woo.
I was excited for The Price is Right.
You do. Yeah, are we podcasting that?
Oh, now you gave away.
I mean, we have to tell them. They're not going to just be like, oh, Price is Right is on.
They saw the reunion. We'll do. I don't know. We'll do a whole podcast.
Yeah, maybe next year.
The Price is Right, but we'll talk about it.
Caitlin, when Phil predicted that Michelle would win, I thought he was crazy. Cheers for making such a random pick. Glad it worked out. Thank you. And then Caitlin again. Could Neil have hurt Aubrey by slandering Michelle? We kind of got into that. I mean, it really seems like it's possible. How do I navigate, Will?
I mean,
oh no,
here.
I could just do it right here. Oh man, this is the sponsor. We had PA Steve set this up, so it's not going as well as we thought it would.
I'm gonna find it. You should talk about how much you love Michelle.
I will.
In the meantime,
something I'm really good at. Normally, it's right under the videos there. Yeah, we can talk about Michelle. I'll quickly name people. She's better winner than Amber. You're not allowed to comment. I'm just saying. Let me roll with this. Amber, she's a better winner than Vesapia. She's a better winner than Natalie White. She's a better winner. I'm gonna say she's a better winner than Sophie, but I haven't watched that season in a really long time. She's a better winner than Bob.
She might be a better winner than Sophie, and I know I was not supposed to comment, but that's a good debate.
That would be a fun part. We can do a whole part. She's a better winner than Bob. She's a better winner than. I give like zero credit to what Boston Rob and Cochran did. I might not even consider them winners.
Whoa.
Who's season 14? Earl. No, Earl's.
All right, here we go. We got.
Oh, okay, we're back. Okay, good.
So we have 17 of these comments.
Oh Jesus. D6 Comedy is one of the better finales. Holy moly, the winners stunk. Sorry guys. Jason, Scott, and Julia were bitter. It was highlighted during Sydney's Ponderosa. Didn't watch the Ponderosas yet, but time out here. Julia was not better. Julia and Michelle were tight.
Yeah, they were
tight. And not for nothing, Jason and Michelle were pretty close at points during the game, too. I guess they could be a little bitter, but like it's not like Michelle didn't have a relationship with them.
Right. And when I say, like, we say one of the better finales, it's like, it's weird. I don't know if all the listeners are watching the same way we have been for, like, and I'm not trying to sound like we know everything, but so many of these finales are so predictable. It's just like to finally have, like, man, is it going to be Michelle or is it going to be Aubrey?
Mhm.
And then we had that going back and forth, and it really, like, it came to a point where even when they were about to read the votes, Michelle, but we were like, man, it could be Aubrey. Like, she played, we saw the edit, like, she did all the strategic moves. She's the narrator, all this stuff that we've come to think is, like, the Mike, the Jeremy, like, Natalie even towards the end, all this. So it's just, that's what feels so good about this season.
It does.
And is Michelle the best winner? Absolutely not. I probably don't even have her in my top 25, but the fact
Seven worse than easily. Maybe
regardless, like, not the best winner. I don't, like, we went through in the season rankings, like, the best seasons, honestly, that we like didn't have the greatest winners. You look at Kim and Boston Rob, and who just dominated their seasons, like, really boring.
Yeah.
I'm all
it is what it is
on this finale.
Mike told what off-season podcast you guys planning? Did you guys like season 31 and 32?
I'm 32 all the way.
I would say 32 more than 31 just because it was more unpredictable throughout.
It was just
more
entertaining, you know?
Yeah, I like this cast a lot. I think this might be one of the best original casts they've ever had.
The whole second chance thing, it was really cool to see players play again, but if you were to just watch that season play out and you didn't know them beforehand, and I know we did, but it was kind of a bland cast, honestly. Like, you and Jeremy, not that much.
I mean, the final six was what I think would be 3 duds and 3 players, with Spencer, Jeremy, and Wentworth being the 3 players. I didn't like
those
Tasha.
were players, but those aren't even the most, like,
they're not even that entertaining. Well, yeah, I hear you. I hear you 100%.
I think this season blew it away, and editing wise, just smoked it.
And for off season, we're definitely going to do something with season 34, right?
Oh, that's going to be
about
soon.
The cast. We're going to do that very
soon.
soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully, before it actually gets announced who's on the cast, then we can talk about the cast when that actually gets announced. Probably won't talk about season 33 till the actual cast announcement, just because we don't know these people. And we're going to probably do an update of the season rankings. I think we definitely need to do that because when we first did that, we didn't have any followers at the time, so we should definitely do that. And then maybe a winner ranking update where we all put Michelle at number 1 and everybody else is wrong. Crapples, we answered that question already, Crapples, so that's the only reason I'm skipping it. Dylan Peddle, I was right with my winner prediction at the beginning of the season. I thought it was going to be someone from the Beauty Tribe that won, and after the merge, I thought it was going to be a female that won. And the winner was a female from the Beauty Tribe. Good for her for winning a brutal season with a good amount of people that were there to play. Congratulations, Phil, for having her as your winner pick. I mean, yeah, I won up Dylan by getting the name right, but, you know, he had the
when Julia went home, it was hers then.
Yeah, exactly, according to him. Cooper and the Gooms, do you think Millennials versus Gen X is the dumbest title of the state?
Absolutely.
100%.
Even Worlds Apart, which is like, no collar. It's like, all right, I get it. I get no collar is like a thing, and the collars kind of works. Like, let's see what happens. This Worlds Apart at least sounds cool. This sounds miserable.
Yeah.
Miserable.
D6 Comedy Philly, if you feel she is top 16 U high, she has made 0 game moves, my friend. She stung.
Then why did she win?
Exactly.
Why did she
win? Here's his reasoning. Here we go. See, this is where you get the answers from. D6 Comedy did not respect Aubrey because they cold shouldered Sydney because of her game moves against them. I'm talking about Scott, Jason, and Julia. Again, the Ponderosa shows it all and why Michelle won. No social games. Scott, Jason, and Julia were bitter. Those 3 ruined this entire season now. I'm not feeling that. They had a different relationship with Sydney, though, than they did with Aubrey.
I have not seen the Ponderosa, but I do know where he's coming from, where it's like, could Scott Jason look at it objectively from like an outsider's perspective and say, you know what, Aubrey made more strategic moves, but and that you can vote that way, but that's not the game. It's like the game is you out on an island, you live with people, and you play the game and you vote, and like if you have to understand if someone's going to be bitter or not, whether you put them on the jury. Like, that you need to. That's we're like, okay, Julia. Probably not going to vote for me. Friends with Michelle. Mm-hmm. Maybe I don't want to put her on a jury and go to the end of Michelle. Julia's, I'm going to lose that vote. Kyle and Jason, I was opposing them the entire game. They were way more warm with Michelle when Michelle was told she was on the bottom of the line. It's like, maybe I don't want to send them together and then go against Michelle. These are things that if you want to win Survivor, you need to think about. So,
and this is where I'm coming from, though, real quick. They had a much different relationship with Sydney than they did with Aubrey. They were with Sydney from day one. And not Julia, but Jason and Scott. and they were tight with Sydney. And the three of them made it through that whole mess with Jenny going, Darnell going, Alicia being a pain in the ass. They made it through that whole mess. Then they swapped, and Sydney just left them. And I bet they're more bitter at her. I don't think they were that bitter. I guess I'd have to hear it. I didn't watch the Ponderosa, but they're definitely going to be more bitter towards Sydney, who was somebody they were aligned with from day one, than they were going to be towards Aubrey. And why are you making the argument that they're only bitter against Aubrey? They're bitter against Ty, too. Because Ty made the biggest move in the game, getting Scott Pollard out. They're bitter against him, too. Like, if you're looking at it from Scott's point of view, you should vote for the guy who completely blindsided you if you don't want to be bitter. And I'm just throwing it out there. He was aligned with Ty, too. Just like he was aligned with Sydney. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they don't take kindly to people who backstab them. Aubrey did not really backstab them. She was just never with them.
Right. And I'm not discrediting what D6 is saying, but
I like
D6 too. But it's, you have to understand that there are people who are going to be bitter. It's part of it.
I like that D6 just comes out with like the anger like right away. And it makes me laugh. It's good. Cooper and the Goons. By the way, I also have Michelle as a winner. Mike Toll, what are your thoughts on going back to Fiji? I never really feel like.
Are you a big location guy?
Doesn't really matter.
I like when the location, finds its way into the season, but preseason stuff, it's like I don't. How are they going to use Fiji?
Exactly.
I have no clue what they're going to feature. So we'll see when we see it.
It's all cast for me. Crapples Toby. What if on a later season, rather than voting out a jury member, the winner of the advantage picks 2 jury members to compete in a fire challenge? I mean,
that'd be boring.
There'd just be too much going on. I'm just reading ahead to D6 and he's making me laugh. But Mike Toll, do you like Wentworth or Michelle? To me, they're both similar. Wentworth isn't all that interesting either. Like she's a methodical. She's a good player. She has good ideas. Her season helped because she found the idol and she had But they're both the hot young girl gets on the show.
That's a good question.
And it works. I like both.
I like both of them. I actually think I like Michelle more. Like seeing. It might be because she won the game, but like seeing those tears from Michelle.
Yeah,
she was like, I'm just so proud of myself. Like I really kind of resonate with that. I think she would have gotten my vote even. I really like her.
Good for her.
I don't know. I'm not saying that, with complete confidence, but I really, I really like Michelle.
Lauren Neron, who from this season would you want to see play again? I mean, pretty much anybody.
I want to see. Kyle. I think
Kyle.
I don't want to see Ty.
I don't really want to see Ty again either. As much as annoying as that is.
If Aubrey wins, he could have ruined this season, and that's what we were kind of saying when Ty saves Aubrey for literally no reason. And if Aubrey were to go on to win, it's like, look, Aubrey was going to be the merge boot of this season, and then Neil gets medevaced. And then we go down, and it's like, well, she should have gone here, but Ty saved her. And I was like,
So for everybody saying that, like, Michelle got lucky, Aubrey got lucky too. And yes, she lost allies and had to fight her way to stay in. Michelle lost every single one of her allies too, and she still had to fight her way to stay in. And that goes to D6 comedy here. Michelle is a better winner than Mike, someone who had to fight the entire merge to survive. Now, remind you, he's saying Mike's a better winner. Versus someone who did nothing, bro, you high as hell. My thing is, Michelle had to fight the entire merge to stay alive too. She might not have had to done it at 11 or 10, but neither did Mike. Mike didn't have to start fighting until he completely backstabbed his entire alliance. And around almost the exact same time that Mike had to do it, but Mike just won immunities. Michelle navigated
in a social way, going on rewards, being
open to things.
Like, really, And just because I think Michelle is a winner doesn't mean that's like truth. If someone likes the physical play and really respects the people who got there and win 5 straight immunity challenges, and that's for you, and that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't think that's as fun to watch. And when you're Mike and you're on a
Mike
season,
put himself in that position. Michelle didn't.
When you're on a season with like the people Mike was going against in those challenges, it's like almost, all right, man, like he loses one of those. And there's a lot of luck involved with those challenges too. I know he is a great challenge competitor, but there's a lot of things that have to go your way to win an immunity and to win 5 in a row. Like there is luck involved. So,
and at the end of the day, does Michelle give a crap that everybody thinks she's the worst winner of all time?
No.
She's sitting over $1 million.
Oh.
And Nick Mariano, my lord. Mike Toll,
man.
Amanda Kimmel, or that's Michelle.
Michelle.
I don't like Amanda. D6 comedy. Oh, Willie, stop! You can get robbed. Jason and Scott ruined this entire season. Screw those two bums. I'm using better language.
Yeah, you probably can get robbed, but I don't think any of us out here can declare that because
we weren't there.
We saw so little of what actually went on. We saw just a few episodes of like just days and days and days and days of them being on an island. Like the jury gets it right.
Most of the, I would say most of the time.
The jury gets it right. They do. If they didn't get it right, it doesn't make sense. I mean, the jury gets it right. That's how it goes. I don't even. I'm trying to like come up with a way to say the jury. The point of the game is the goal is to get jury members to vote for you.
Yeah.
So if you get that, you win. It's just that's how it goes.
Yeah. D6 is on a roll. I'm just gonna keep going because you guys are.
Oh yeah.
D6 comedy. Philly just coined the term for the finale. The red wedding. You're welcome. D6 comedy. Not a better than Bob. He created a fake idol and it actually worked. Way more than what Michelle did.
Oh, he's just going.
He's just going. Watch the Ponderosa. Tell me Julia wasn't bitter. Not a little bitter. They didn't talk to her at all and ignored her. All the other contestants commented on it. Sorry, guys, for my over-commenting about Michelle winning. It just really made me upset. Let's be honest. Ty wasn't going to win because he could not eloquently speak about his game. I am the angry black man on YouTube, so that's probably why I get so angry. Again, I am sorry for steamrolling the comments of Michelle winning hate.
It's fine.
It's fine because you do make sense with what you're saying, D6. You really do. It's just Michelle is not as bad as people are making her out to be. She did do things this game, and I'm bringing it back to your Mike point. You said Mike had to fight the entire merge, from the merge on. Mike and Michelle had to fight just as hard, and Michelle did not completely screw everybody and put herself on the bottom. She was in an alliance and just happened to be on the bottom of that alliance and then navigated her way up. Mike was at the top of an alliance, made one of the stupidest moves ever, and ended up on the bottom of that alliance, and that's why he had to win everything. He totally put himself there. Michelle, she was in an alliance that she thought she was tighter in, and she wasn't. She didn't make a stupid bonehead move like Mike did to get herself on the bottom. Boom! Roasted.
I'm with you. It is getting very late. It's almost 1 a.m.
Yes, let's go.
I'm tired. It's been 3 hours of Warriors,
go home.
3 hours of Survivor. I will have to. We'll have to go home. Do you have anything else, Phil?
No, that's it. We'll get the boot list. Oh yeah, we'll get the boot list things done. No, I don't have the boot list, but I just want to let everybody know that we will. I'll either tweet out the boot list thing or in our next podcast we will have it all updated. But Adam Klein definitely won because he had these 4 people in his top 6.
And we rigged the scores once we
realized he was on Survivor. Yeah. Oh yeah, now he has to be on our podcast. If he's not, then he's just never going to see these authentic buffs that he'll never be able to touch.
Right. He needs those.
He does.
All right. So that's it from Kaoh Rong. I'm saying top 10, maybe even top 5.
Yeah.
If you don't agree, that's fine.
You missed it.
Missed
it again.
It's your darn computer.
Did you miss it again?